How you going, people? Going to talk about for cops. This is mainly for the cops out there. If you're, I know I got some young cops or cops going to the academy. They're kind of looking for questions. Cops aren't real good about sharing information when they're cops. They kind of want you to put in your time, play the game. So when you're, as a cop, one of the best things you can do, and I don't know if it's operating procedure now or not, probably should be. I mean, when I was a cop, we had to use these damn cameras that you click the button and the picture comes out, and then you let it sit in a light and then it develops. And those were about the only cameras that we had that we could carry in our car to take pictures of things on scene. And the tapes were pretty expensive, but it was government money. Nobody cared. We'd waste it. We'd take pictures of stupid stuff and waste, because it doesn't matter. That's how government is. It's not our money. Nobody cares. So, but we had these cameras to where you had to click it. Not everybody had a camera. So normally you'd have to call a sergeant, or if you had a car where you were doing something. I mean, as an investigator or detective, I always had one in my car. But a lot of the road dogs who worked in uniform, didn't have cameras. They had to call a sergeant or somebody. And now, and if you didn't have one of those click phones, normally you'd have to call out the evidence technician, and they would come out and you'd say, I need a photographer to come out. When I was in the Air Force, they had a whole unit that did nothing but photography for the base paper and beautification and this and that. And as cops, when we needed photos taken, we would call them and they would come out and they would take all these different photos and give us 8x10s. Again, it was government money, nobody cared. So, but we always had somebody available in the military. In civilians, you didn't. You either had your own camera, or you had the little pop-out thing, or you called somebody, or you called a sergeant. Well, now with cell phones, where everybody's got a camera with them, I mean, if you're a road dog and you're in an incident, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I mean, if you're not taking pictures, I mean, when I would go to a crime scene, a lot of times if I had a crime scene arrested, you know, whatever the crime scene was, you know, a rape, a child molestation, domestic violence, whatever, if there was a crime scene, I couldn't just take a picture. So I would have to get out a piece of paper and draw a diagram. And this is a favorite trick of attorneys, defense attorneys, when they get a cop on a stand, is they'll ask you some off-the-wall question. How many windows did the room have? And you're like, I don't know. And anytime a defense attorney can get a cop to say, I don't know, on a stand, it makes the jury question, is this guy's pretty good. So it's pretty easy to paint the cop as incompetent if I can keep getting you to say, I don't know. So they'll ask you, what color was the carpet? Where was the bed located in the room? Was there a dresser in the room? Where was it? How many pieces of furniture was in the room? Was the lamp knocked over? Do you know if there was a lamp in the room? So when they start asking you all these questions, if you didn't do a good crime scene, and after you got your look like an idiot a couple times, you learn when I'm in a crime scene, all right, this guy's going to ask me a question I'm going to know everything about here. So I'm drawing little tables, I'm drawing little lamps, I'm drawing light switches, I'm drawing which way is north, which window the sun comes in. You know, I'm getting all this information, because the next dummy that tries to get me to look like a dummy, it ain't going to work. But now with a camera, man, I'd take out a video, I would videotape my crime scene, I would take photos of different angles, I would take photos of evidence, and I would keep that. And I mean, you can either put it on a thumb drive, you can put those photos on a disc and put it as evidence for photos that you took. I mean, to refresh your recollection, I mean, a lot of times I'd stop somebody, wasn't sure on their ID, didn't want to arrest them, didn't think they were a felon. They gave me an ID and dispatch was busy, I couldn't run them, and I go, shit. I'd snap a picture of them, I'd get out my little fingerprint thummy thing, take a thumbprint and put it on there, and then I'd run them later and figure out, and that way I had a picture and a thumb. Because I just couldn't either get on the radio, it was too busy, I was out of jurisdiction, they had an emergency going on, the beeper was on, so I couldn't talk. So with these cameras now, I mean, even now, when I sell or buy a gun, or if I want somebody's ID or something and they don't have a card or something, I just say, hey man, take out driver's license, I'll take a picture. I mean, if we're friends and they want to give me info, or if I want to contact them later, or if I'm buying a gun from them, so I can say who I bought it from, hey man, let me see your driver's license. I'll take it, set it out, and I'll snap a picture of it. And then I have a little file that says gun purchases IDs, and I know who I bought the gun from. So, I mean, with the cameras now, it's so easy to gather evidence and to cover your ass so you don't get caught with all these questions and look like a dummy on a stand because you don't know. So as a cop, if you're doing crime scenes or you respond to anything, snapping a quick picture, snap a picture of the suspect, of your victim, of injuries, of the crime scene, of the car out front, of the light. I mean, just having all this information comes in so handy. If not for you, Later on, I can't tell you the number of times I got involved in an investigation, and I end up doing my research, I'm doing my investigation, and it leads me back to a cop that had this person at a house with a car and other people, and all they remember is the bad guy because they ran him, and it came back that they ran him. And I go talk to him, and I go, yo man, you ran this guy on this night, what was going on? Man, I don't remember. Shit, that was 3 nights ago and 200 calls ago. I don't remember. I'm like, dude, man, he's involved in this homicide, and I need this, or he's involved, and it'd be nice if, who was he with, who did you run anybody? No, man, I ran him. I don't know why I ran him, but I didn't run anybody else, so I figured he was probably the worst dude there. So it doesn't help me, whereas if a cop nowadays would just go, you know what, I'm running this guy, I'm going to snap a picture of him, I'm going to snap a picture of his friend, I'm going to snap a picture of the car license plate that was here, I'm going to snap a picture of the house so I know where I'm at with the address or the mailbox, and now I have all this information that if this guy or someone you contact ends up being involved in a murder later, man, that's some great information that cops can use, and it helps the detective, and it helps get a conviction, it helps track down bad guys. So this was more for the cops to say, hey, use your cameras, take photos of things. You never know what you're going to need and what you're not going to need, and when something needs to come back. And always better to have more information than the old answer on a stand. I don't remember. I'm not sure. I don't recall. My recollection isn't good for that night. All that sounds like double BS, crappy cop work talk. All right, we'll end that there.